What if you became a ninja for one day? We tried to start this video differently, but believe me, it's the easiest way to explain the genius. The genius, mystique, and power of real-life ninjas. This is not a meme about stealthy assassins. In the next couple of minutes you will be convinced of everything personally, and will help us Shinji Kagawa, a real ninja living in a small village Koko, which is a couple of 100 kilometers from the capital of Japan, Tokyo. It's 1490 AD, and around our Shinji is the most ordinary village you can imagine. The people around here herd sheep, grow rice and drink sake on cold evenings while telling tales and playing the incredibly addictive card game Koruto. The highlight of this village is that even the most notorious bandits would be afraid to come here. The respected rulers periodically send gifts to our Kagawa and his family. All this because the whole village is crawling with ninjas, including even the girls who quietly go about their business. The highest caste in Japan were the samurai, endowed with the right to kill anyone they see. Slightly below were merchants, farmers, artisans, and other people. At the bottom of the hierarchy lived the Baraku Mina, the so-called second-class people. But that doesn't matter to us. What matters is that ninjas are unique, because within the strict feudal framework of the time, they did not belong to any class. Our Shinji Kagawa, like all members of the profession, lives in a separate village and can be anyone he wants to be. The vast majority of ninja in ordinary life imitated farmers, some pretended to be traders, and the most skillful could easily pass themselves off as samurai. The main thing for every ninja in his clan. Shinji belongs to the Kagawa family, and this clan in turn belongs to the legendary union of 53 Koko families. The name is taken from the village where the samurai mini-states reside. Koko still exists to this day, being a town where an attraction that allows you to live a day in the skin of a ninja is popularized. However, the attraction has nothing to do with reality. You're simply asked to put on a tight costume, throw shurikens and complete an obstacle course. In reality, our Shinji, his family and an alliance of 53 clans performed more epic tasks from the 10th through the 17th centuries. For 700 years, Japan was a feudal state where various cities and regions were constantly at war with each other. In this environment, everyone needed an advantage that allowed them to stealthily assassinate high-ranking officials, stage sabotage, and win wars with a minimum of bloodshed. It's not hard to guess that such an advantage was the ninja. That is why they were allowed to establish their settlements, and no one disturbed their peace. In general, to call our Shinji a ninja would be incorrect. In those days, members of this profession were called ninja, but binoma or abbreviated as shinope. The word ninja came to us from China. If you read the Japanese character shinobi in Chinese, you get ninja, as it was the Chinese who spread the fame of assassins around the world. The word ninja has caught on and is still used today. But it is incorrect to call our Shinji an assassin. A shinobi is more of a scout saboteur, for killing is only 10% of the work done by any ninja clan. The other 90% is reconnaissance, stealing classified data, arson, water poisoning, and other joys of the spy life. Those clowns seen in movies or at festivals have nothing in common with our Shinji. No matter how they compare, they won't compare to him, because ninjas don't become one, they are born one. Kagawa's mom and dad had a baby boy as soon as they gave birth and started training. They hung the baby in a basket in the corner and periodically rocked him so that he would hit the walls. Naturally, without harming his brain. The Kagawa family wanted Shinji to develop a reflex. Sooner or later, the baby began to group himself to avoid bruises by feeling the motion sickness. Later, Shinji began to spin and twist him at different angles. After thousands of bruises, the baby learned how to land so as not to break anything and moved on to the next stage of learning. It was primarily reading, not Spartan exertion. The art and science of ninja requires knowledge and skill in a wide variety of areas. Shinji, like all shinobi, was fluent in chemistry, could read military maps of any type, could decipher documents, and was an excellent actor. He could pretend to be anyone to achieve his goal. This is why modern ninja schools have little in common with real shinobi. They are more like perfect spies than fighters. The famous ninjutsu is more of a teaching of achieving results at all costs than mere fighting skills. We were taught to swing our fists, but we didn't emphasize it. After all, why would you do that when you can shoot your target with a gun? The focus was on more important exercises, such as night vision, for example. Little Shinji was put in a cave with only a torch burning. Later, the torch was replaced by a candle, and then everything was removed, so that darkness became a friend of the shinobi, as well as his feet. After all, why get involved in tedious fights, if you can blind your opponent and run away? There was a special exercise in which a young ninja was given a hat. Holding it against his chest, the shinobi would release his hands and run. If the air currents left the hat on his chest, then his speed and technique were fine. Probably the main prejudice associated with ninja was equipment. 90% of the time, going on a mission, Shinji looked like an ordinary peasant. There were no black suits or katanas, because they attract attention. They are worn by samurai, and any passerby can ask questions like, "Where did you serve?" and "Who are you?" Shinji's favorite weapon is the kusarigama, a sickle on a long chain that can be used to chop off any limb, including the head. However, what the ninja likes best is that the disassembled weapon resembles an agricultural sickle. Wars were simmering everywhere, and a brutal control awaited everyone at the entrance to the city. A ragged peasant with a sickle raised minimal questions from the guards. Those very black suits did not exist in reality. In fact, such a costume did not help in any way to hide in the darkness. Ninja costumes for night outings were brown, ash or dark gray. These were the colors that helped them blend into the gloom. The ninja's main tactic was rationality. Guys were on the cutting edge of technology and widely used guns, brass knuckles and other unprecedented for that time technologies. Shinobi studied all possible martial arts, but only for the purpose of dissecting them. In reality, the skills of attacking from the back, staggering, poisons and fighting in tight quarters were perfected. Modern ninjas, karateka with their dancing, wouldn't last a minute in such a fight. So 200 out of 365 days a year our Cindy trained and led the ordinary life of a farmer. A visiting European wouldn't have realized what kind of village he was in, but all the local rulers knew who to turn to in case of trouble. The scheme is simple. Let's say Tokyo feudal lord Sun Hen is preparing for war with someone like Kubo of Fuji. Rumor has it that Fuji's army is 3 times larger than his own. Sun sighs and sends a delegation to you. The delegation is more like an armored train loaded with gold and food. Arriving at the village, the negotiators present gifts to the respected ninjas of the Kagawa clans and ask for help. The boys are satisfied with the amount of the gifts, and our Cindy is summoned by the Kagawa family for a briefing. A decision is made to hit the mystics and spread the rumor that the Tokyo feudal lord is being helped by the elements and there is no point in going to war. Cindy packs her bags and heads to Fuji, ready for war. The town looks more like a fortress, but would any of the guards have any questions for a poor peasant in a straw hat and a sickle on his back, fleeing war to a protected town? Of course not. And Shinji easily gets in. There, our Kagawa takes up residence in a peasant's lodge for 100 people and quietly discusses the topic of crops and the best rice planting. He finds an excuse to start a terrible fire in the city. Shinji explains that his brother, who lives in Tokyo, has told him that the local ruler, Sun Yun Min, is working with the elements, and this is just the beginning. The slave traders spread the rumors around the city, and Shinji continues the dirty deed. After eliminating the traders transporting weapons, he pretends to be one and infiltrates the samurai camp. There he learns the names of the warlords, the location of their houses, and other trivia. Along the way, he continues the rumor that the guys from Tokyo have connections to the elements. Then, with the help of a sickle, after killing the ninja of the Iga clan, working on Fuji, Kagawa penetrates into the house of the local commander and steals all the offensive plans, the number of troops and supplies. He then dips a little gunpowder on the clothes of one of the generals so that he can shoot him with a match from a blowpipe during his public appearance. Hooray! Everyone sees the general suddenly catch fire and die in terrible agony. The ruler of Kubo realizes that it was the work of ninjas, but the whole city is buzzing that it's better not to mess with such people. The army is demoralized and no organized war is out of the question. And if it does, Shinji has already returned to Koko with copies of maps, plans, and detailed information. In reality, this is what a typical day of samurai Shinji Kagawa, or any guy like him, might look like. Shinobi are not the ancestors of today's belted karateka. Ninjas are the ancestors of super spies, rumor mongers, saboteurs, and framers of various levels. They were centuries ahead of societies in development. For the ninja, there was no such thing as honor. There was only a mission, and to die on it, unlike the assassins, was considered a failure. What's the point of killing Shinji if he can't get the intel home? Even the legend that ninjas walked on water is true. The boys invented water skis by tying reed paddles to their feet. With a certain skill, with their help you can glide on the water, which shinobi successfully used. But all this nonsense about ritual suicides is pure myth. If Shinji had decided not to take Fuji's assignment, he would have gotten away with it. Ninjas preferred to avoid risky missions to avoid causing trouble. Death could only come if he left the clan or revealed the secret to the civilians. In that case, it was mandatory for the other shinobi of the clan to punish the culprit themselves. Ironically, it was the ninja who helped the legendary Tokugawa shogunate unite Japan under its rule. And just as suddenly, in the absence of feudal conflicts, closer to 1620, they became unnecessary. The same Tokugawa made the image of the ninja despised. Ninjas were publicly burned and executed. This led the survivors to legalize themselves and began to use the skills in trade, agriculture, and other fields. But their teachings were burned, and only theatrical performances remained of the images. By the way, in theaters, the guys changing the scenery wore the same black tight suit to remain inconspicuous, and it became the prototype of the equipment that we see in modern films. And the teachings of the ninja have died, and now no Japanese school can prove to be descended from those very hardcore super spies. However, this does not negate the fact of their possible existence. After all, the whole point of ninjas is that no one knows if they really exist, don't they? See you again, friends. Thanks for watching.